What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? Just gonna start here in a second. Let's talk about it Monday. Desmond Ritter or Taylor Heinicke, the man making the decision, Arthur Smith. All eyes are on him. Grady Jarrett out for the season with a torn ACL. How devastating that is! You best fucking bet it's devastating. And the Falcons do make a trade, but not the trade we were wanting, at least not yet. But all that coming up here in a second. All right, man. Let's talk about it Monday. Man, is there a lot to talk about? There is a whole lot to talk about. One of the first places I guess we can start, well, first and foremost, hit that subscribe button, post notification bells, so you'll know whenever I go live, put out any new content, whole 9 yards. So there's so many places we could start that we really have to talk about as we've had time to reflect since the game ended yesterday. I think obviously one of the biggest things, obviously, is the quarterback situation. But the other big development was Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett went down the first defensive drive. I want to say it was the first defensive drive. I believe he was the one who recovered the botched snap on Tennessee's end when Malik Willis was in there, and he tore his ACL on that play. We did not see him the rest of the game. He did come back on the sideline. He was in street clothes. So they pretty much have given the prognosis, before the game ended, that he wasn't going to be able to return. So the news came out this morning that it's a torn ACL. And I think that is one of the last things you wanted from this season. That's one of the last things you needed, one of the last things you wanted. But at the end of the day, the NFL, that's inevitable. But talk about a guy like Grady Jarrett, who for his entire career has been the heart and soul. Really, first of all, if you don't know Grady Jarrett's story, every Falcons fan should know Grady Jarrett's story, because you should know who Grady Jarrett's father is. The Hammer. One of the greatest Falcons of all time, arguably maybe the greatest Falcon of all time in some book. Jesse Tuggle. Look at Grady Jarrett's story, man. Not a lot of people know this. The night before Grady was drafted by the Falcons, Grady was a 5th-round pick in 2015 when he was really projected to be probably about a mid-day 2 pick. Grady fell all the way to the 5th round. On the night they were projecting he would get drafted, his house burned down. For someone who should be celebrating such a monumental accomplishment in their life, the biggest thing that ever happened to them, for that to happen was has to be a absolute gut punch. And then on top of that, still sitting on the board later than you should be. Because you're told you're not big enough. You're told you're just an afterthought. You're going to get ran over. They completely negate anything about your heart or how you move from that aspect. They just, at the end of the day, all they care about. See, the NFL, the thing with the NFL, yeah, you can measure size. You can measure all that. You can measure you can run a 4.3 40. You can't measure hard. If we did, I think if a team could measure hard in the NFL, then I think you would definitely probably see, you would no doubt in my mind see, you would no doubt see that in the NFL, you can't measure hard, and that's I think that's a big fucking thing. You can't measure hard in this league. If you could, I think maybe we'd solve a lot of our fucking issues, but we can't. Bottom line, though, Grady Jarrett has faced. It can't even be described how much adversity has been thrown in his way, and how much of a fire he had lit under him. He came in here already, despite being a 5th round pick, the son of Jesse Tuggle. And Grady, I think we all know, happened the Super Bowl that we all love to forget. If we would have won it, Grady Jarrett probably would have been the MVP of that game. You can definitely make an argument for Matt. You can make an argument for Julio. Grady Jarrett got to Tom Brady 3 times. That was when the world found out about Grady Jarrett. And since then, he has only turned into more of a beast every single year. And as Grady Jarrett entered his prime years, the Falcons started to suck. They were in the midst of cap hell. Matt Ryan couldn't get any protection. And a lot of those guys on defense who, during Grady's first few years were starting to disappear, or they weren't performing to the level they were at one point. So Grady was left on an island all by himself. Grady Jarrett, we knew, had to be frustrated because he was the only one out there giving it 200%, giving it 100%, however you want to chop it up, giving it his all. So I know I'd be frustrated if I was the only one out there who looked like I gave a damn. That was the case for Grady Jarrett. He got frustrated. Anyone would. And last season, he said, you know what? Enough is enough. I want to be here. I love this team. My daddy played for this team. But I'm not just going to be the only one here. Bring guys in here. Get guys in here who want it, who can produce at a high level. That's what the Falcons finally were able to do this offseason, and they did it. They brought in a David Onyemata. They brought in a Calais Campbell. They brought in a Bud Dupree to come off the edge. There's several guys. Grady Jarrett finally had some reinforcement. He had some help. But looking at it now, when Grady finally had an opportunity for the first time in 6 years to be on a team who got over 500 and it looked like very well could still be on their way to the playoffs, he's out. Grady Jarrett is not just the heart and soul of this Falcons defensive line. He's not just the heart and soul of this Falcons defense. He's the heart and soul of the Atlanta Falcons as it is. Which is why his loss cannot be understated. Now, the one thing, are we better suited to deal with this than we were in years past? Yes, because the biggest thing, we have a guy like Calais Campbell in there, who I think everyone respects and everyone can relate to. In terms of how long Calais has been in the league. He's a former Walter Payton Man of the Year winner, I believe. So Calais Campbell, there's no concern that he is a leader, but still, this has been Grady's locker room for years. And I have no doubt, as soon as he gets his surgery, he's going to be right back with the team, being that leader. Even though he can't be it on the field, he's going to be it in the locker room. But there is no one, I think, that can come in here and replace what Grady Jarrett does. But with that being said, there are some ways you can try to at least neutralize it. Because one thing about Grady Jarrett, the effect that he has is bigger than just something on the field. It's a combination of what he does on the field, in the locker room, what he has for the community. He is the Atlanta Falcons. And that is not something you just come in overnight and take. This has been Grady's team now for a solid 4 or 5 years, I would argue. And that will continue to be the case. But we're talking about on the field, there's ways you can neutralize this. The Falcons already have done that. Breaking news, the Falcons have traded for defensive tackle Kentavious Street. Played in Philadelphia. Guess where else he played? New Orleans. He's a Ryan Nielsen guy. He's familiar with Ryan Nielsen. Notice, that's a big thing. Relationships. They want guys with familiarity with the area, with this coaching staff. And that is the way that we know they have rolled for years. And they're going to continue to roll that way. Kentavious Street, I think obviously he is a nice rotational player. I mean, he had some solid years in New Orleans, but he's no Grady Jarrett. No one should get that confused. Now, the big rumor, the big boy trade that still could potentially be on the table is Montez Sweat. I would think the offer still stands from Atlanta's end, the 3rd round pick. Now, the thing with this Kentavious Street, I believe it was we get a 2025 7th, and in return, we give up like a 2024 conditional 6. They can become a 6. So, if like Street plays 6 games. So, I would honestly probably anticipate Kentavious Street. I think he will play in at least 6 games, even though, I mean, we have 9 games left. You'd have to anticipate he's playing in most of those games. Obviously, barring he gets injured, which you definitely hope doesn't happen. But with that being said, the trade for Montez Sweat is still a possibility. Now, what a lot of people are not familiar with, heck, what I wasn't even really that familiar with, is the NFL restructure deadline. Basically, to restructure anybody on your team. And that has passed. So, I would say that could definitely affect us trading for a Montez Sweat in terms of wanting to lock him up long term, but it's definitely still a possibility we can trade for him. I think the Falcons could look at other guys too, but Montez Sweat we know is the guy that they have keyed in on. Danielle Hunter, that name could be back in the picture now with, we'll talk about it later in the week, Kirk Cousins is out for Minnesota. We won't have to be facing Kirk Cousins Sunday. I don't know who the Vikings are going to roll out at quarterback on Sunday, but one way or another, you would probably expect that Minnesota season is going to go down the drain. So at the end of the day, that name could be back in the market, even though I would probably say Minnesota wants to hold on to him. And we have made the offer for Montez Sweat. But with that being said, there is still a lot of conversation to be had. There's a lot of work to be done. We are currently, I want to say, 22 hours or so, a little over 22 hours before the 4 o'clock deadline. When that deadline hits, it's done. So the Falcons are going to do something. They're doing it in the next 22 hours or so. But that's really where I stand. Do I think the Falcons will get the trade done for Montez Sweat? I don't know. I would like to say yes. I don't know. I really don't. They've already made the trade. I don't know how comfortable Terry's necessarily going to feel if he has to not only give up a third, but maybe you also throw a fifth in there. Granted, I would do it, but I don't know how comfortable Terry would feel doing it, letting some of your later round picks really go. But with that being said, that's really where it stands on the defensive side. The defense, I think we all know, is definitely one of the reasons we lost that game yesterday, but you can't be mad at them because they have balled out all season. I have no doubt every defense has a game like this. That defense is going to get right. And I think as far as the defense goes, this Sunday versus Minnesota is a prime get-right opportunity. But now it's time to get into the meat and potatoes, the beans of the 5-course meal we're going to be talking about. Who the hell is our quarterback going into Sunday? Who is it? Is it Desmond Ridder or is it Taylor Heinicke? Let's see. Skylar says Taylor Heinicke. So we got our first vote for Taylor Heinicke. Man, I got to be honest with y'all. Oh, and Arthur Smith. That's another subject of conversation that really ties into this. We'll talk all about it in a second. Arthur Smith said he is announcing his starting quarterback on Wednesday. Now, we talked about it yesterday. The Falcons, I do not want a quarterback controversy, but let's face it for what it is. The Falcons have a quarterback controversy now. That is what we are dealing with. We don't know who the hell we are starting on Sunday. We're Minnesota. Is it going to be Desmond Ridder? Is it going to be Taylor Heinicke? I'm going to tell y'all straight up, don't believe any of that concussion protocol bullshit. Don't believe it. He benched Desmond Ridder Sunday. Ridder was cleared. From my understanding, Desmond Ridder was cleared to come back into the game. And if you have confidence in a guy to be your starting quarterback, if that is your guy, you're putting him back in. Now, granted, have the Falcons shown a tendency at times to be hesitant with putting players back in if they're not 100%, as we've seen with Cordero Patterson? Yes, but it's a different situation. Starting quarterback. You cannot tell me, even if that is the case, that the Falcons were not in some way feeling a little, what's up, CPG? That one Red Stallions fan. I'll tell you what, the fucking Red Stallions are 0-1. I don't think too favorable of that Red Stallion shit anymore. I will say this though. I think where we are, hold on. You have a lot to say. Well, damn it, the link is right there. The link is right there. And go ahead and you can say whatever you need to say, man. Link is right there. If you guys want to come in and give your 2 cents, particularly Falcons fans, I want to come in and give y'all 2 cents about everything. I'll let y'all. Let me see. Nothing changes my mind about Ridder. He sucks. I predicted he turned the ball over, and just like that, he did. And the worst part is Taylor Heinicke played better than Shitter. God damn, you didn't even call this man by his real name. You're calling him Shitter now. Damn. What kind of defense was that? How the fuck do we let a rookie quarterback who dips mayo in his damn coffee? Man, I got to take a moment to think about that. I had to take a moment to think about that. Dips mayo in his what? Man, he is just going. Shout out to that one Red Stallions fan. How did we let a rookie quarterback who dips mayo in his damn coffee and eat a whole damn banana without even peeling the damn peel off, mind you, throw 4 touchdowns? Well, I'm going to tell you what, man. This defense can't bail us out in every single game. So we got strong support for Taylor Heinicke so far in here. We better get heavily involved in the trade deadline. Well, shit, we already made a move. Grady is out for the season. Yep. Trade for Vikings defensive end to Neil Hunter, Montez Sweat. Damn. So you're calling? I don't think we're not trading no damn quarterback. You say F them picks. You always gotta have picks to go back and rely on. Man. Always have to have picks to go back and rely on. Not those picks. The draft picks. Not the picks Desmond Ritter has thrown. He's only thrown 6 so far this season. Fumbling has really been the bigger problem for him. I know some might be mad at me for this, but you are too blind to see Ritter is ass. None of the wins because of Ritter. Week 1 was Algier, and the other wins were thanks to Young Ho Clutch. Young Ho. Whatever y'all want to call him, man. He is clutch. I can't deny that. Raps are blind as fuck. That first touchdown for the Titans was a clear offensive pass interference. Had that been called back, we would have won 23-21. Yeah, but man, you can look at that one. But also, we let up those 2 big other bombs. So, realistically, yeah. I mean, if we're looking at it that way, we should have really have won 23-14 if we could. If the safeties really let up on one big one. You can tell the communication was off between Bates and Richie and AJ and all of them. The guys who were supposed to hold it down in the secondary, they were off on Sunday. But yeah, y'all, I hear y'all. I hear what y'all are saying about Taylor Heinicke. I understand y'all's frustration, but man, gotta be honest with y'all. If Desmond Ritter is cleared, which I think he is starting on Sunday. I'm going to tell y'all why. Granted, I could be wrong. Now, let me make my position clear. I want to see Desmond Ritter succeed. I do. Want to see him succeed. I think that there is ups and there is downs with him. However, I do want to see the man succeed as long as he's starting at quarterback. However, I will say this, in that Ritter was cleared and did not come back in yesterday. He was holding that clipboard that whole second half. And it looked like they looked pretty damn comfortable doing it too, because we all saw that offense when Heinicke came in. We saw how in sync they looked. They looked like they hadn't missed a beat all year. They scored on, with the exception of that last one, every single damn drive. And the drives were getting longer and better as the second half went on. So, man, I'm asking y'all. That's what I'm doing. I'm asking y'all. Are y'all with Ritter or are y'all with Heinicke? Me, I want to be with Ritter, but shit. How am I supposed to be with a guy that the coach doesn't even really... The coach knows. Arthur Smith, deep down, I think feels I fucked up signing my name to this guy. That's what he's feeling. That's not what I'm feeling. That's what he's feeling. But even though I want to support Ritter, I want to see him do well, you got to call it for what it is. Heinicke wasn't bad. Yeah, he was. Listen, Heinicke looked good. I mean, shit. It was the first time, he didn't turn the ball over. The offensive line, it even seemed like played. But now, the offensive line didn't really play better, to be honest. Heinicke, he made some pretty damn good plays with his legs, escaping some pressure that should have been sacks twice. Twice. So, man, but I'll say this. I hear what y'all are saying. You know, y'all got to understand these. Maybe they should listen to us, but they don't. Arthur Smith is a stubborn fucking asshole. And, man, I'm going to tell y'all something. Even though he might feel he fucked up, he knows he can't go back and just say straight up, Heinicke is better than Ritter. He can't do that. Desmond Ritter is cleared. He is starting Desmond Ritter. He already told you that our quarterback situation is the same. He told y'all we didn't perform because of performance issues, which, looking back at it now, I can see that because Ritter, even outside of the fumble, which, I mean, it was a big fumble because it led to points. He didn't really play the worst first half, but granted, he still fumbled, and the fumble is big. Is that part of the growing pains? Yes, but when it's happening every week, that is where it gets very frustrating, and I can feel y'all's frustration. You got to look at it both sides, and that's what I'm doing. Even though I want to see Desmond Ritter succeed, I'm looking at this thing from both sides, as I have said, and I can understand y'all's arguments. And heck, y'all are maybe even persuading me a little bit. But I still want to see Ritter succeed. But I'm going to tell y'all something. Arthur Smith will start Desmond Ritter if he is cleared, which he is cleared. Not no damn medical expert, but Desmond Ritter is cleared. Now, can I maybe agree or say, okay, they did go and say maybe you need to go get checked out because his ass has been getting knocked out all season by that offensive line. Offensive line is another element that it's not, we're not giving Ritter a pass, but the offensive line has sucked this season. It has. 7 sacks versus Detroit, 4 sacks versus Carolina. Even the games we're winning, Ritter has been getting beaten up on and off. Letting up those sacks versus Washington yesterday. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons took that game over in the first half. So with that being said, man, y'all can say all you want, but maybe that is really the case. Maybe they said you need to go get checked out. But also, then looking at it, this is where the question comes up. Why didn't you put him back in if he's your franchise quarterback? And you got full 100% confidence in him being that. I think we've all kind of said we hope Ritter turns out to be good, but we don't know how he's going to pan out. And we sure as hell don't know now. But he is going to start Desmond Ritter versus the Vikings because he has backed himself into a corner now. Arthur Smith is backed up into a corner no matter what he does. He puts Desmond Ritter out there after what Taylor Heinicke just did, and Ritter goes out and does the same old thing, then there's going to be even more bittering and shippering or whatever you want to say for Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke were to go out there and ball out, then he has to roll with him. He has to. Because if you go back to Desmond Ritter after Taylor Heinicke goes out next week versus Washington and absolutely balls out, then you're going to have to, Ritter has to ride the bench, and you got to go with Heinicke. That's why I say they're going to start Ritter. It's going to happen. Now, I'm honestly, and I don't even know if I'm going to say it, man. I really don't. But I think Arthur Smith is wishing a certain something happen right now, going back to yesterday, that could have really resolved this quarterback situation one way or another, and it could have happened either. I'm not going to say it because I don't wish it on anybody. And the fact Grady is injured right now absolutely is you can't describe it how big of a loss it is. Let's see. I agree. The Falcons, we shouldn't. What are you trying to say? We should have or we shouldn't have won that game. We got our asses kicked. We didn't deserve to win that game, but shit, we almost did. He almost led the comeback. See, I think in one way, Arthur Smith is kind of glad he didn't lead that comeback, because if he would have led that comeback, he has to roll with Heinicke now. And, another thing, too, people might say, oh, pushing a narrative, doing this, doing that. I'm just looking at it from all the perspectives. I'm just going along with what y'all say. I'm looking at both perspectives. I made my perspective clear. I want to see Ritter succeed. I want to see him do well. But shit. From what I saw, I can't lie yet. It's frustrating. It is. I understand that can be part of a young quarterback who still technically you can say is a rookie in terms of starting games. He's only started his 12th game counting yesterday. If he were to start Sunday, it would be his 13th. But at some point, you have to learn from every game you do. Yes, there's elements. The offensive line can do better. The play calling can be better. But you have to grow as a quarterback on every start. So, where do I stand on this? Listen, I think Ritter is starting Sunday. Ritter starts Sunday, I want to see him do well. Heck, if Ritter starts Sunday, maybe Arthur Smith, listen, maybe he did this thinking he'll light a fire under Ritter's ass. And he's going to come out firing on all cylinders. Who knows? And that could happen. And if it does, great. But at the end of the day, man, you have confidence in a guy to be your quarterback for the long term, and then he's been hit and miss. Let's call it for what it is, 50-50 hit and miss. You have a backup come in, a seasoned veteran backup come in, and for all intents and purposes, look sharp. Now granted, I think what part of it honestly was Tennessee prepared for Desmond Ritter. They didn't prepare for Taylor Heinicke. They were kind of shell-shocked with the Taylor Heinicke. Obviously, Ritter has only been in the league 2 years. He's only started 12 games. Heinicke has bounced around the league for nearly 10 years. It's not just his time in Washington. He was in Carolina. He was in Minnesota. That's, I think, where he got signed as an undrafted free agent from. But, man, I'm going to say this. There's a lot of questions we need to ask right now. There's a lot of decisions to be made in the next 24 hours and a lot of decisions to be made going into this Vikings game at the quarterback position. And Sunday's going to tell us a lot. I will be in the building. ATL will be in the building. We'll all be in the building on Sunday. We're all going to see firsthand. And after Sunday, we're going to straight up be able to determine what this situation is. That being said, the link is in there. Let me go ahead and do something. We go ahead. That link should be pinned in there now. For anyone who wants to come in, talk about this thing, particularly the Falcons. Now, another thing, too, talk about the division because CPG is in here. Panthers got their first win yesterday. Bucks lost on Thursday to Buffalo. And the Saints are now tied with us at first. We still have the tiebreaker because of division record, but the motherfuckers from the swamp are fucking breathing up on our asses, man, as we figured they would. So, man, now we got to deal with the threats in the division. This is a tight division. But another thing I will talk about, that leads me kind of into a conversation about Arthur Smith. If Arthur Smith does not make the playoffs, particularly win the NFC South this year with the Falcons, if the Falcons do not win this division this year, Is Arthur Smith on the hot seat, or is Arthur Smith even out here? That's a question that, well, I'm not going to say a question. That's something a lot of people have expressed. And led me to ask a question on Twitter last night. If you don't follow me on Twitter, do so. I will say this. I posted that poll. Only like one person voted no, he's not on the hot seat. 54% voted yes. Over half are saying he's been on the hot seat. They're talking about basically if he don't make the playoffs, he's out of here. Do I think Arthur Smith will be fired after this season if he doesn't make the playoffs? No, because I will tell y'all something. And I'm not calling for anything. But I will say this based on what I have seen. Arthur Blank's kindness is his weakness. Arthur Blank has the tendency to be very lenient. He was with Dan Quinn. I think he will be with Arthur Smith. I think Arthur Smith gets to at least start his fourth season as head coach. Probably gets 4 full seasons as head coach. Because you do have to give him the benefit of the doubt in terms of what he was working with the salary cap. However, the pressure is on now. You have the team now, so it's time to go out and do what is needed to be done to win this division. A division that can easily be won. And I think we all see it. So with that being said, Link is in there. Anyone wants to come in, talk about it. If not, then hey, I think we've covered a lot. I think we've covered a good bit. Obviously, we'll still be looking out, for if the Falcons make any more big moves, if they trade for a notable pass rusher like a Montez Sweat, maybe even a Danielle Hunter. I'd probably say Sweat definitely because they put the offer in for him, but we will indeed see. But hey, CPG says Heinicke wasn't bad when he was in there or in here, so Heinicke was in. Oh, you're saying Heinicke wasn't bad when he was here? Yeah, I mean Heinicke was pretty all right. I think didn't Heinicke start a game against the Falcons in like 2018 with Carolina? I could swear he did. See, Falcons have worked out some guys. Yeah, the Twitter, shout out to Wolf. Wolf calls me the Twitter god. I don't know if I call myself the god at anything. I think Wolf is probably more in line to shout out to Wolf, man. I will definitely say that I really. Oh, it was Kyle Allen. I could have sworn Heinicke was on. Y'all was with y'all in 2018, 2017, something like that. But yeah, that's really the situation we're facing right now. We've got a lot of shit going on. It's like scary hours. Would you call it spooky hours here in the A? Definitely an argument for it. We're having to have some uncomfortable conversations here. We're having to bring it. Some people don't want to talk about it, but I'll say this, man. If you're a Falcons fan, obviously you want to root for the team. You want to see the team do well, but you got to have uncomfortable conversations at times. You got to engage in them. We have to put our 2 cents in. We might disagree, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you just want to completely just shy away from these conversations, maybe this shit ain't for you. Maybe this shit ain't for you. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered all there is to cover. I will say one more thing. Shout out to all the real Falcons. Shout out to the ones who rep through. Shout out to the ones that come on here, bring it, tell it like how it is. We might not always agree, but damn it, we support this team. Obviously, ATL will go check out my boy. All of us, man, we bring it real. There's a lot of different Falcon entities, a lot of different platforms. You might agree with them, you might disagree with them. You might say they're too negative. You might say they're too damn positive with the Falcons, and they need to be more stern with them. Which I can agree. I can agree to both of those things. I think you got to call it for how it is. We're fans. The thing with me, man, I've said I want to win. That's all I care about. Damn it, if we would have won yesterday, oh yeah, I'd be sorry, but we didn't. Heinicke looked good, but we didn't. So, with that being said, yes, I still want to see Ritter succeed. I still want to see him do well, but I have said it all true, and I will continue to say it. Do they even have confidence in him? This locker room, I'm really raising a lot of questions about right now. What state it is in. But with that being said, one more time, anyone wants to come in and talk about it with me, you can. The link is there. But if not, then I'm going to head out. Got Monday Night Football tonight, Raiders and Lions. Thursday night on with the Titans and Steelers. I saw they're starting Will Levis again. I just think, go ahead and start him the rest of the season, man. I mean, to have that performance by no one was expecting Will Levis to do that in his debut. Nobody. Not the Falcons, not any fans, not even Titans fans were probably expecting that. Because, I mean, they were talking about playing both quarterbacks, but it's pretty damn obvious now. I think Tennessee, you got to roll with Levis. But that being said, man, next Sunday, we got a big game versus Minnesota. It is a must-win. But all eyes are on the quarterback position, and all eyes are on Coach with how he deals with everything. I will be back doing the picks, doing the preview and predictions. That should be a fun one this week to do. And then, man, next Sunday we'll see what we're talking about. Heck, I might even make this like a weekly special. I might just do, let's talk about it Mondays every week. I don't know if I will. I'll decide. I don't know if I will. But one way or another, I'm always going to be here. Always going to be repping the Falcons. That's what the real fans do. And I'll see you guys next time. I don't know when that next time will be. It could be before the picks tomorrow, but you'll definitely be seeing me around. With that being said, appreciate all the support, and I'm out of here.